to have the bollocks.
Do you really want to go toe-to-toe with me on that?
Like, what are we doing here? Levy isn't going anywhere.
It's all down to timing, isn't it?
Yes, guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Five. How are you? How are you? I hope you're okay. Hope you're happy and healthy doing the things that you love with those you love to do them with. It's Thursday night, a big night in Europe for two teams from the Premier League. We'll be keeping one eye on that as we get through the night's proceedings. There's three of us here at the moment, as you can see. It was supposed to be four. Johnny is otherwise engaged this evening. He's not on Holly Pops, but he's out Holly popping somewhere. So we have hopefully got two guests to bring in. One of them at the moment is just sort of figuring out some issues, if you like. We do have one in the background, which we'll be bringing in very, very shortly. A new debutant on the channel, I will have you no less. It's absolutely exciting stuff, guys. Someone who's very well known in the Twitter sphere for getting all of the latest and greatest news regarding Tottenham. It'd be good to speak to him, good to see what he's got to say about all things Tottenham. Before we get into it, before I come over and find out how Stelios and Lubo are doing, you know, guys, we've got to do the admin stuff. Please do smash the like button on the video straight out of the gate. It's very, very easy to do. It's free to do, and it helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe if you haven't already. We appreciate any help towards the next march, whatever we're on the march to. Notification button should be squeezed. Comments should be dropped. And we are, of course, available on all of your podcast platforms, whether that's Spotify, where you can watch us back, or the others where you can listen to us back. You are available to find us. Excuse me. We are available to be found there. So if you do look us up, look up the Spurs Five, give us a rating, a follow, and a review. We appreciate any support in that endeavor. And lastly, but by no means least, we have, of course, today's sponsor. And guys, it's a massive, massive breaking story from OK Jersey. They usually give you the greatest value in town from quality and price perspective, but they've actually nearly doubled their discount for the month of May. For the end of the season, you can get 15% off. 15% off for all of your World Cup kits, for your Jeremy Jacquets, for your retro kits, for the new stuff that might not even be necessarily released yet. You know what to do. Go to OK Jersey, go and have a look around, see what you want, and then stick in code 515, F-I-V-E 15, and you will get 15% off between now and I think it's the end of May. So big up to them for the sponsor. Big up to you guys for your attention. Let's find out how Stel and Lubo are doing. Stel, how you doing, mate? You okay?
Yes, good, thank you. Good evening to the chat. Hope everyone's well. Yes, the hair is growing back nicely. Thank you for all your comments about my hair in the chat. And make sure you check out the podcast. Our podcast is doing quite well now, so keep an eye out for that too. Otherwise, let's get into it. How you doing, Sean? How you doing, Lubo? How you doing, special guest? How's everyone doing?
Good. All good tonight, thanks. Listen, with 3 games unbeaten, club's rocking, isn't it? We're moving out of trouble, bit by bit, match by match. All is good in the world.
Yeah, Monday is just around the corner.
Massive.
And it's gonna be squeaky bum time. I feel like I'm gonna get up to Tottenham at about, I don't know, 10 o'clock in the morning that day, just soak it in.
Have a day out. Why not?
Have a day out, you know, go to the Chick King, might end up at the Polish superstore, you know, really dial in and have a couple of magnums to take away the nerves.
Sean, do a stadium tour. Do a stadium tour.
I might do. I won't do. But I might do. Big up to you, Lubo. Big up to you, Stel. Right, let's find out, guys. Like I say, it's usually Thursday, so you usually get 5. We're still hopeful that we can get 5. We're waiting for the fifth guest to hopefully figure out some shenanigans that are afoot. Let's find out. We do have a fourth, though, for you. And let's find out who could it be. Where's my video? Has it disappeared? No, here it is. Let's find out. Guest selector time. Making his debut on the show this evening, A very popular man. I think he's starting out his own YouTube channel, or has done very recently. He's a very common, very regular face on Last Word on Spurs, and he's big on the Twitter sphere, keeping us all up to date with everything that's going on around the club. Please, guys, give it up for and make him feel very, very welcome, Mr. Gary Ward. Gary, how are you, mate? Great to see you, buddy.
Yeah, very well. I was expecting pyro and everything after that entrance video. Couldn't believe it. I thought it was Mr. Blobby going to come in at one point and jump on me. I must admit, it was felt like a Noel Edmonds situation. I kept having a look at I kept looking at that door, thinking Mr. Blobby's coming through there in a minute. But yeah, great.
That's what we do here, Gary. That's what we do, mate. That's what we do. You know, it's all about entrances.
Yeah, but. Well, next time let's get some pyro in the background. I don't know, we get some WWE music or something going. But no, I really appreciate having me. Yeah, looking forward to talking about Tottenham. Isn't it very nice to be positive about Tottenham at the moment? And feeling doom and gloom as much as we have been is a little bit of a smile on our face for once. And let's hope that continues tomorrow for our under-21s. If anyone's not aware, we're in the semi-finals of the Premier League 2 Cup at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I'll be there for that. It's £10 for adults, £2 for juniors. And then obviously the big one on Monday for us against Leeds. So let's hope two big wins for us this weekend.
Yeah, it's Brighton tomorrow night, isn't it, Gary? I think
it is. Yeah. In the semi-finals, under-21s. Obviously, our under-16s won the under-16 Premier League Cup last Saturday at Fulham, which was a cracking game. Actually, I watched it on Fulham's YouTube channel. They weren't best pleased when they were 3-1 up and then losing it 5-3 in the end. But yeah, it's been good for the academy, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Actually,
Spurs have got a 14 or 15-year-old kids centre forward that's just with insane figures, I think.
Yeah, he's Horton Sinclair.
Right.
He scored 60 goals this season in the under 16s, and he's got I think it's 16 assists as well.
In how many
absolutely phenomenal. Games wise, I'll have to check on that.
Hat trick every game. He's only played 20 games. It's like 3 games a goal, 3 goals a game.
He scored the 5th last Saturday as well. Celebrated it really well. But yeah, he scored 60, and I think it's 16 assists this season. So very, very impressive. Looks good. Looks real good for his age. Obviously, I think he's 14, so he's still very, very young. Someone said to me on Twitter, put him in the first team, and I said, why? And they said, well, he's scoring. I said, you do realise he's 14? And he went, oh, okay, maybe not then. So yeah, he's got a few years yet.
Stel, what you're someone who's sort of used to be a part of the youth sort of training developing teenagers. What are the risks between the ages of 14 and 17 for someone like Horton Sinclair? Is it when he discovers girls? Is that the most frequent reason why people lose focus? Is it that they stop growing? What's the risk in the drop off in your experience?
So, first of all, you can't play a child more than 2 years up from their age. So if you're 14, you can't play with the 17s. However, in the academy system, they have scope to do it, but no more than 25% of the development phase of a year. And the biggest risk is depending on the individual. So if you, let's say we've got a player called John. You'd look at John physically, tactically, the social dynamic, the technical ability, the tactical nous, and you'd assess the player, and then you'd say, right, where are they really excelling? If I move them up a couple of ages to really push that side, how detrimental would it be to the weakness? For example, Oxlade-Chamberlain, when he was at Southampton, they played him 2 years up because technically he was brilliant. But physically, because he's short, he was getting the shit kicked out of him, and he was crying every week, and they had problems. But they pulled him in, pulled him out, pulled him in, pulled him out. So that they had to juggle it so that the weakness isn't further weakened in the process of trying to enhance the strength. So that's the biggest risk. It's knowing.
So it's not so much like in terms of by the age of 14, you're not really, or maybe you are, maybe you're not, but you don't have the distractions of like a 16-year-old when you're starting to think that you're something, and all the girls want you, and you take your mind off the you take your eye off the ball. Is that not a thing?
Modern,
it must be a thing. Right?
No, not really, because the modern day academies, they're more like schools now. So at Tottenham, you're not allowed to turn up in anything more than, I think it's a £20,000 car until you're over 21. So when that money comes in, they don't let you splash the cash and be the big shot. You've got to get to a certain age, and that's good, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to humble the player so that they are educated into the world of what it's like to be a football player. So you do get a fruit that slip through the net because they hang around with bad characters. Marcus Edwards was one of those. He had a lot of naughty friends. Troy Parrott had some. He was knocking around with the wrong crowd. They can't control who your friends are, but when you're in their environment, they can completely control. And most of these players are institutionalized. It's like army camp for football. So the modern football academies are actually really good. No, just saying, the modern day football academies, especially Tottenham, they're really, really good with the youngsters. They teach them the values and the principles and not to become like, flash gits and sport brats. They do humble them really well.
Gary, you sound like someone, again, correct me if I'm wrong. There's a few people that I've spoken. I know Irish Hotspur Dave is someone that watches a lot of the youth. I know Johnny goes to a lot of the games. I've been to some games for the under 21s. I don't focus on the under 16s like you obviously do. If you are interested in that level, Gary, this Horton Sinclair kid, how does he compare to other players that were, talented prospects when they were at that stage, playing ahead of their age group, that may have made it? I don't know if Harry Kane was someone that was extraordinarily good at 14 and was playing at 16, or Jermaine Defoe, or are you familiar? Like, is this kid someone that we can look forward to seeing, or is he someone that could easily just end up being another one that sort of falls through the net?
I think it's a bit of both, really, because you just don't know how someone's essentially going to develop. You could have a late bloomer, and I think Harry Kane was probably more of a late bloomer than he was an early one, and you could have an early one that doesn't necessarily turn into much. He's excelling at his age group, and it's exciting. I think we are way off before we kind of get to the point where we're, oh my God, let's all jump on this bandwagon and get really excited for maybe 4 years down the line or 3 years down the line. I think it just comes down to the development of him on a number of areas, and physicality, mental, obviously being on the pitch, getting results, staying injury free.
Is he a big guy? Is he a big guy? Is he?
He is quite big. Yeah, he is quite big. He physically does well. I watch more under 18s. The under 18s, under 19s, when we're in Europe, and the 21s. The 16s aren't televised as much.
Okay.
So I can't get as much access to them for obvious reasons. But they are on YouTube sometimes. Like these, there are a few odd games that be on. So watching him, been very impressed by him. Follow his numbers, and a couple of the lads that play within there sort of send me the results and how things are going and things like that. So that's obviously nice to keep track and keep an eye on them. So I think it's really important as fans. We should obviously be excited about our first team, but we should also be excited what's coming through as well, and we all want to see that youth prospect come through. In any club, you just get excited by that. It feels a little bit more special, doesn't it? So personal. It's nice to keep
more intimate, more personal. It's more like one of our own. Lubo, let me ask you. Sorry, still, I know I just want to bring Lubo into the conversation quickly. Lubo, I think Gary makes a really good point there. Like, we Tottenham fans are certainly focused on the first team. We do hear about these players that are coming through, but all too frequently we don't see them. We don't see them make it, right? I've got no idea on the ratios of our breakthroughs versus other top six clubs. Obviously, there's it's probably slightly easier if you're a breakthrough kid at a Fulham or a Brighton or whatever else. But maybe it's a bit more difficult if there's pressure on the manager to just focus on first team, especially in a struggling top six team. Why do you think we don't have as many of these top prospects that actually break through as we probably would hope to see?
I don't think we've had a manager since Pochettino who's been interested in bringing kids through from the academy. I think Poch was the last one. I remember.
And why is that, Lubo?
Well, Mourinho and Conte were never. They were like win now managers, so the academy wasn't even of interest.
Mourinho played Parrott.
He played Parrott against Norwich to make a point that the kid wasn't ready, because and Parrott didn't have a good game at all, did he, that night? And he hooked him. Everybody was on Mourinho's back to give Parrott a chance, and I remember Mourinho saying after the game, "See, I did say he wasn't ready." It's frustrating. I mean, for as long as I've been watching, I've been over 60 years. You know, I mean, there have been 5 or 6 players that have made it big. You know, which are, for me, Perryman, Hoddle, Ledley King, Campbell,
Kane.
Harry Kane. I'm trying to think if there's any big players. I think that's probably it, to be honest. In terms of
Winks, they broke through.
Yeah, but not to that level. Not to that level still.
Winks was good when he broke through. We wrecked him though. We wrecked Winks.
I think the problem with Winks also, still, I remember seeing Winks have a most phenomenal game when he was all over Modric at the Bernabeu in a 1-1 draw in 2017 in the Champions League, and Winks was our best player in Madrid. But he got a stomach injury, I think, and I don't think he, when he came back, he was never the same after that, which was a real shame, because Winks potentially could have been very, very good. Very good. It's frustrating because you look at the kids, you had kids coming through early 90s like Darren Caskey, Andy Turner,
Nick Barmby.
Barmby.
Loved Barmby. He was fantastic.
Anthony
Bernard's,
Gardner.
Yeah. Townsend, but none that stayed the course, or were fancied by managers.
Lubo, it's not the manager's fault. This isn't a manager problem. This is a fallacy.
To some degree, though, still to some degree, like if you're, I'm with Lubo on the fact that like Conte and Mourinho were here to win in the short term, and then they were never going to be here for 8 years, right? People like Ange Postecoglou, maybe they could have built something. Maybe Zerbi can build something. But if things go wrong very quickly and they're under pressure to get results, they're worried about whether they're going to be in a job next week, let alone giving a shit about an 18-year-old.
That's why it's not a manager problem
from the top. I think it's an alignment from the ownership in terms of what you want as a club and in terms of identity, because we have these players there, but we are picking managers that perhaps aren't necessarily looking to develop, but I'm sure they would with the opportunity. But it comes with, we look at the situation now, and the amount of times I get asked, why is Luca Williams-Barnett not playing, Teenan Thompson, for instance, not playing from the academy? We're having to ask our managers, having to ask 17, 18-year-olds to come into a really difficult situation at the moment.
Right.
It just comes down to squad planning and alignments for me, and not giving enough. There isn't enough foresight in where we want to go in terms of an identity, because we keep flipping and flopping between different philosophies and identities, and it's just players will not develop in first team and won't get the opportunities because the first team's a mess. So it's just a really difficult situation where things are at the moment in the collectiveness of a club.
It's interesting. I mean, I went to the final 2 years ago. Were you there, Gary, when we beat Sunderland at Lane?
Sorry, I didn't.
We beat Sunderland in, I think it was the under-21 final at White Hart.
Oh, no, I watched it. I watched it on TV.
And it's interesting. I mean, there were players like Sun-Suk Bell that looked very good who we brought in from Chelsea, who's since gone. George Abbott.
We paid £1 million for Sun-Suk Bell, didn't we?
Did they?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
George Abbott, that I think that's had the same injury as Kudus, a quad injury that curtailed his season early. But for me, I thought Abbott might come through. He's had a good loan period. I think Notts County, he did well with this season, early doors. We don't seem to bring these kids through, do we? It's really disappointing.
Lubo, there's no plan for it. This whole conversation is a fallacy. Don't do what the club tell you. Look at what they actually do. right? This club's fantastic at sound bites to finesse the fan base, to suck everyone in, to create talking points. This is the reality. ENIC, and I know this because I've spoken to the academy director, I know coaches in the club, they have put a line between academy and first team. They do not interfere with one another. What that means is the manager of the first team has no influence in the academy process. And the reason the club have done that deliberately is because on average, the life expectancy of a manager at Tottenham is under 2 years. So they don't want someone coming in, telling the academy what to do, then in 2 years later, that manager's gone and they've got to start again. The other, which is terrible planning from the club. Secondly, because of this separation, you never get a situation where on a regular basis, the under 21s or the under 18s train with the first team. So the manager can have a proper look at them up against the first team to see what they're like. That doesn't happen. Then you've got the issue of what do you expect? We signed Phillips, Bergwall, Gray, Odebert, Tel, Vuskovic. You've just taken 6 places from the academy prospects. So what is the point of the academy, right? That's a question. But one of the main reasons we've got the academy at the moment isn't to develop players for the first team, is to develop a player from 0 value to a higher value and sell them on to then fund purchasing whatever we want to purchase, assets, property, maybe players for the first team, compensation for the manager to resack. But the biggest problem we've got, and it's never going to change under ENIC unless they start, kind of what Gary was saying, that there's got to be an identity. When they brought in Simon Davies to be the academy director, his remit was restructure the academy, get every team playing the same way, don't lose the focus on developing the individual, because we've always done that, develop the individual, and then if you have 11 brilliant individuals, naturally the team will be good, kind of the Galacticos method. But develop a team philosophy. So now you've got the under 8s, 10s, 15s, all the age groups play a very similar way. When we signed Ange Postecoglou, his style of play complemented the academy structure. And when I spoke to Simon Davies, I said to him, what happens if Ange leaves? He goes, I've been given good authority from above. When Ange leaves, the next manager will be of a similar ilk. That kind of, I said, okay. What did we do when we sacked Ange? Prank. Like, completely against the whole purpose of bringing in Simon Davies. So the work that Simon Davies put in for 4 years went to shit when we didn't bring in Zerbi straight after Ange. So now the academy's lost a year. So this constantly happens at Tottenham until we stick with one manager for more than 3 years. And if that manager then moves on, the next manager is of a similar style, like what Brighton do. They've got very similar managers that play similar football. Unless we start doing that, every fan should forget about these academy kids representing Tottenham. They don't stand a chance. Until they fix that, then they've got a chance. And then when we stop spending money on youngsters and allow the academy kids to be the youth, then we'll start seeing all these players we're talking about and get excited about them. But until then, guys, it's not going to happen. And the coaches inside the club are very frustrated by this as well, because they believe that some of the players we've signed for the club, the academy has got players that are either equal or better. And it doesn't make sense. So I'm sharing with you everything I hear from inside, from when I used to go in the club. And that's the tragic truth of Tottenham right now. It's annoying because we've actually got talent. We genuinely have got talent in our club. We really do.
You made a really good point where you said, don't necessarily listen to what they're saying, look at their actions. And you can see that. I mean, I go to every under 21 game and I can see players that should be in the first team. And we're going out and spending money on, millions and millions where we've kind of got it already in our academy. So it is incredibly frustrating as a supporter that looks at it as well. And it allows to come back to what I said earlier. The alignment and identity is just completely gone at our football club at the moment.
Interesting site. Interesting first 25 minutes. I didn't expect us to be talking about the kids tonight, but it was a nice little chat. Let's move towards the first team though. Look, I think Gary, you asked at the start. You said, "Isn't it nice for Tottenham fans to be?" I just see Villa have just scored. Villa have just scored a goal, 1-1 in the Europa League from Ollie Watkins, who's just had his head cut open, similar to what happened to Morgan Gibbs-White. Fascinating stuff. Yeah, well, actually, talk about Nottingham Forest for a second. Gary, you mentioned at the start there, isn't it nice to have a bit of positivity? I feel like Saturday and Sunday was great for Tottenham fans, right? We saw West Ham lose to Brentford. We saw Newcastle beat Brighton, which sort of threw up some new connotations of why, it was going to be a little bit more difficult for other teams to expect easier games. Nottingham Forest had to play Newcastle. West Ham had to play Newcastle. All of those things still being true. But obviously, then other things happened since. Chelsea, to my surprise, I guess, getting smashed by Forest, which made them, took them out of any kind of danger zone, really. I think Forest are now out of it. It's between Tottenham and West Ham. And obviously then the Arsenal game and Manchester City drawing with Everton kind of throws in another little bit of a connotation in there. I just want, before we get into the specifics of the press conference and the game that's coming up this weekend, has the last sort of 72 hours of results that have pivoted a little bit back against the best interest of Tottenham fans, has that taken the sting out of the tail of all of the kind of positivity that was emerging after the Aston Villa game?
I mean, a very small amount for me. It was more that it's essentially it's in our hands. It's very, very much in our hands. Whereas I felt like a couple of weeks ago, perhaps it wasn't, and that was the concerning bit. It isn't in our hands, and we're reliant on other people around us. Luckily enough, it's we've picked up the result. West Ham have lost. We're now a point ahead, and we've got a very good goal difference. And the 3 games coming up, Leeds are on a decent run, but I think at home, hopefully we could do okay. And we definitely need the result. Chelsea are really struggling, and this could be the best time for us really ever to go to Stamford Bridge.
True, good point.
And then Everton are very much hit and miss on the road. So it's in our hands. That's all I can think about. And Arsenal need to win at the weekend. They have to win for their title. So
yeah,
that's
interesting. Okay, so because I was thinking not so much about, I don't think Arsenal would do us any favours, but I don't think they would do West Ham any favours given their situation. But Everton, I was sort of thinking if Manchester City beat Everton probably aren't in a top 6 race. That Champions League pursuit is done. But because they got a point, I mean, maybe that final goal, that late goal for City that took those 2 points back, maybe that kind of changes things for Everton. But I was, 90 minutes into that game, I was thinking, shit, Everton are actually still in the Champions League spot here if the 6th spot gets Champions League, which makes that final day a little bit more complicated. But
I think it's going to be complicated no matter what.
Yeah,
it's going to be, and it's going to be complicated anyway. But it's also going to be balls to the wall. Everyone's going to be extremely nervous. And the only thing that I like, I guess this is a personal thing, being in control.
Yeah.
And we're in control. It's down to us. I don't want to rely on other people or another team. And for me, knowing that it's in our control has kept that positivity up over the last few days, definitely. It could obviously all change on Monday night, and I really hope it doesn't. But if we can pick up that result, it is just in our control. It's the best way I can say it.
Yeah, I love that. Serenity prayer, Lubo. Lord, grant me the wisdom. Grant me the serenity to control the things. What is it? Lord, grant me the serenity to whatever. You know what I'm saying, Lubo? It's in our control. Right?
Sean's just waffling.
Waffle that one. I usually can bounce that one out straight away, but
what did you say, Sean?
The serenity prayer. Lord, grant me the.
Control
basically.
What you can.
Yeah.
And what you can't control, you shouldn't worry about.
Grant me the serenity to control. I'm fucking hell. I'm going to.
There's a thing, isn't there? You worry. You worry about things, but 90% of the things you worry about don't come true anyway. So don't worry about those things. So for me, as long as you're in control of the situation, and we're in the box seat now. So it's all down to Tottenham.
I look at the comparison in fixtures between Spurs and West Ham. We've both got Leeds at home, so let's park that. They've got Arsenal at home. Cannot change. Courage to change things I can. There we go. There we go. We've got Everton at home. They've got Arsenal at home. So you would think that our game was marginally more, is better for us. And away from home, we're at Chelsea, they're at Newcastle. So and luckily enough, we got Leeds, which is a better fixture for us than what West Ham have got this weekend. So we've got to make we're ahead. We've got the goal difference of +10 on West Ham as well. And if we can win this weekend, and Arsenal got to win, if they drop points, if they draw with West Ham, West Ham will pick up, confidence, which they will take into the Newcastle game. If Arsenal give them a good hiding, then West Ham go into a game where they may have got 4 points in the previous 2 games before Brentford, but they haven't been playing well, I've been told, for the last 3 games. So that'll be 4 games if they get a good hiding. So it's up to Spurs to take advantage. I wonder what odds you'd have got. when De Zerbi said we're going to win the last 5. I wonder what odds the bookies would have given you, because we're 40% of the way through now. Everton are 10th at the moment. They're 4 points off 6th place. So if that's still the case coming up to the last game of the season, then Everton are out. Everton will be fighting for, I suppose, a conference league place. So they'll be dangerous anyway. It's in our hands. If we carry on playing the way we did on Sunday, for me, I'm confident in all 3 games. To be fair, he little things that he's been working on. He's been working on the training ground with holding up the ball much better. I remember, I think it was it Man City? Tell gave the ball away outside the area. The ball finished up in the back of the nets in the first half. He's not doing that now. He closed down. He was running constantly. He was closing down Matty Cash. You didn't see Cash overlap at all on Sunday, did you? Tell shut down that avenue. Little things like that De Zerbi's doing, and that's just an example of one player. I mean, you saw the way Gallagher pushed and the way the positions De Zerbi put him into, and said, right, there's your area, now close them down. And there's all these little tactical tweaks that are going on that are making us look so much better. I'd love to be on the training, watching on the edge of the training pitch, watching Monday to Friday. I bet it's superb what he's doing. So for me,
he's had another week with them this week, isn't he? So it's obviously more and more extra repetitions, time with everybody, and understanding. What I really like the idea of this, if we do stay safe, is that he's had 7 games and umpteen amount of training sessions head start of a important pre-season and next season, and that's invaluable when you come into a new season. But I've been really impressed by the performance last week. For me, the press was some of the best pressing I've seen us do in a long time, and Villa just couldn't deal with it. Unbelievable.
He'll know from these 7 games. He'll know immediately, rather than come in, look at videos, have his pre-season. Yeah. He'll know straight away who he wants to get rid of, who he wants to keep, and what additions he needs. So this is actually brilliant. This is a final set. What is it? 5 games? 7 games? 7 games that he's got. Whatever it is. It's like a pre-season, but it's better than a pre-season because he's seeing players under pressure.
Yeah, so, and he's seeing attitudes. Seeing the attitude, I think, is most important. Seeing a change in the attitude of players. And I think as fans, obviously I can't speak for everybody here, but just by me watching some individuals, you can see their attitudes look different, and they look like they want it more, and they look like they're understanding the severity they're in, but also they're enjoying and understanding what De Zerbi wants. I think that's critical as well.
Yeah, I think the one thing to thank Tudor for was that he put them through rigorous training sessions, because they weren't that fit when he took over. And now, funny enough, you're seeing the benefits with that press. I mean, we've taken possession of the opposition in De Zerbi's 4 games, I think, on average, more than any other team this season.
I think we've also touched the ball in the opposition penalty area, or in the final third or something. A stat that suggests our ability to basically win the possession higher up and then do things with it in the last 4 games more than any other team in that 4-game period.
Yeah.
The early impact is fairly pronounced. And Lubo, not only is it more disciplined and the press and all those things which we've just spoken about, but you're also seeing patterns of play that are starting to give you an idea of what he could do next season with more time and with maybe a slightly better squad. If we stay in the Premier League, it's going to be nice to watch as well, which is important for Tottenham fans.
I'm looking forward to it. We saw today, and I'm not getting ahead of myself. We've picked up 7 out of the last 9. Sunderland, I thought we were unlucky to lose. That was just a deflected goal, and how the referee didn't put them down to 10 men. God only knows. Only Rob Jones knows that. But I think you can see each game Spurs are improving, and Sunday was a massive improvement for 90 minutes on the previous game. Now, I know people are going to turn around and say Villa rotated, but they didn't rotate that many because McGinn was injured, Anana was injured. They basically rotated Watkins, Pau Torres and Konsa. And Tyrone Mings isn't a bad player to come in. Sancho's not a bad player to come in. And Ross Barkley's not a bad player to come in. And look at the players we were missing, all our big players. Madison.
I did a little deep dive on it actually as well. And the 7 players they brought in combined this season as 134 league appearances. That's just in the Premier League. So it's not a huge difference in terms of, and they're all quality players. They brought Ian Maddison in at left back, and he's one of the best left backs in the league. So I wouldn't mind that sort of depth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stel, the Zerbi effect. I've heard you talking on various channels. You're starting to like what he's doing. You're enjoying his press conferences. You're enjoying his the output, I guess, and I think you respect the input. Is it enough for you to change your mind on whether relegation is still the best interest of the football club? Would you prefer to see him be able to do what he's doing in the last 3 or 4 games, but be doing it against the best opposition and stay in the Premier League, or are you going to die on the relegation hill?
I don't know about words like die. Very dramatic, Sean. My life.
I'm just listen. Yeah. On Monday's show, it should have been about you after the Villa game. Instead, Lubo allowed it to be about him because you very conveniently played the old bait and switch, and Lubo fell for it hook, line, and sinker. This is a second attempt at Stel having to refresh his stance on.
I never ever get sucked in by Enoch, right? Fans do. Most fans do. It happens all the time. Rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. You will never suck me in. And the same applies now. I never wanted Frank. I never wanted him. I struggled to even get behind him. I had to do so because I was getting pelters for it. I never bought Frank, even when most of the people on the show, couldn't say enough about him, how great he was, and now they're all flip-flopping, which is good to see. And when Tudor came in, I wanted him out after the first game and got told off for wanting the manager out after 1 game. He said, no, I can see already this guy's terrible. The day we signed Zerbi, I never criticised it. I liked Zerbi. Yeah. I was happy that I never once criticised Zerbi. The only thing I criticised was why he's not starting Paulinho.
No, I know that. I'm just saying.
I'm happy. I'm happy Zerbi's the manager. I'm happy Zerbi's the manager. I hope he's here for the long term. But the same problem exists.
Do you still think we can? Is it still in your mind in our best interest to waste a year in the Championship, or have you seen enough of our marginal improvements, our relative improvements in the last 3 or 4 weeks to sit there and say, actually, this guy in the Premier League with this squad and improvements to it, why bother going down? Like, the ownership aren't going to change anyway, so let's just stay in the Premier League. Essentially, are you still steadfast that you think that relegation is the best thing that Tottenham can go through?
The only way anything will change at this club is if the fans stand up to the owners. The fans categorically refuse to stand up to the ownership. So the only way the owners will change is either if they sell and piss off, or if they feel the kind of financial distress that destabilizes them to the core, where they're forced to change everything they do regarding focusing on football and not asset growth and wealth creation. I haven't moved from that position. Listen, if we're in the Premier League next year, De Zerbi's the manager. Do I think we'll finish higher up the league? Absolutely. Do I think the football will be better? Damn right it will. Do I think we'll start winning more trophies and build on what Ange did and win a trophy, or try and go back to what Poch did, who was challenging for the biggest trophies every season? No, I don't. I don't believe any of that's going to happen, because from the sounds of it, Lange is going to stay, which is diabolical. Vinay's still going to be the CEO, which is shocking. And until we have a proper, focused plan on recruitment, on not keeping the deadwood like Ben Davies, who fans think, oh, he's a steady Eddie. He's part of the problem. We've got to get rid of these players and replace them with real good cover at the back. Until we actually embrace the academy, properly embrace the academy, and until we actually start buying the kind of players that this club is crying out for, more Van der Vens, more Kuduses, that level. Sean, it doesn't matter who the manager is. In the end, we'll just be a top 6 club that in 3 years' time will set the manager again. So I haven't changed my views on anything, because I need to see what happens this summer. If this summer Lange is still the football director or involved in a dual role, which I'm against, Vinay's still running the show, and the transfer window is one of these up and down windows where, oh, he's good, I'm not sure about him.
Well, then in that scenario, you would rather that we went down, because you would be assuming that if we went down, Vinay and Lang would have been sacked. Is that your logic?
100% they'll be gone. But I also think the fans might turn against Enoch once and for all. Because the problem I've got with it all, Sean, is this. What do fans want, right? Because this has always been a question I can't answer. I think there's 4 camps. I think there's fans that just want silverware. I think there's fans that put what they're watching on the pitch above everything else. There's fans that just want a day out. They just want to go out with their families, enjoy the experience of the Spurs stadium, get some club merch, go home. That was a nice day out. And then you've got some that they're more focused about the club being a sustainable, well-run, ethical, moral type organisation above everything else. So I think you've got 4 different types of fans. I think deep down, we all want to win trophies. I do think every fan, of course, wants to win trophies, but some prioritize it, some don't. So it depends what you want, because I'm in that camp of I want trophies, man. This club is starved of it for far too long. And unless I see that, I don't give a shit about everything else. But I'm one of 4 groups of fans. So I'm not representative of the fan base.
Let me put
when you grew up and started watching football, and I'm sure people in the chat will answer this as well, and please do. What was the one thing that you wanted to see from the club that you were supporting? I didn't even know Alan Sugar owned them for a large part of it, because it wasn't something I was cared about, or the ownership, or how much they spent, and all these things. All I cared about was winning a trophy at the end of the season. And ultimately, that's what you're in it. That's why you play it. That's why I coached for a long time. The only reason I coached, I wanted to get to the end of the season and lift a trophy and put it on Instagram. You know, you want to win. You want to win, and you don't get into anything not wanting to win. And ultimately, you don't spend all this money and all this time and effort to go, well, we got 100 million for qualifying in the Champions League. Doesn't matter to me. That's very frustrating.
Gary, look at Arsenal this year, right? Their fans have been moaning constantly about how poor the football has been. They've been criticised by many rival fans. You are the worst team to watch. It's boring. Right now, do you think their fans give a damn? They've got a Champions League final to win, and they have full control of now going on to win the league.
No,
we would buy.
I mean, we watched the worst Europa League final last season, didn't we? We watched the worst Europa League final last season. Exactly. I don't care about I've never watched it back because it was awful. The only one thing I care about is the background on this computer that's got Song lifting it up in the air. That's all that matters. At the end of the day, yeah, we want to see exciting, free-flowing, attacking football. Great. Obviously, we want to see people coming through the academy. All those things are additions to what you want to see. But ultimately, you want to see your team winning. And winning trophies. That's what you get into it for. You don't go into a race going, I hope I'll finish second. It does. That's just not the reality.
course.
I personally think 8 out of 10 teams that win the league or win the Champions League tend to play really good football anyway. You get the odd anomaly like an Arsenal or when Mourinho stank out the Champions League with Inter. You're going to get those. But most teams that win it are brilliant. Man City, Barcelona's, Real Madrid's. Last year, PSG were what a joy to watch.
Unbelievable.
Most teams that win the big trophies tend to actually be quite good to watch anyway. So
they will be, because winning breeds winning. Winning becomes a habit. If you keep doing the same thing, it becomes a habit. If you keep winning, it becomes a habit. Better players want to come to you. More money comes generated, and you slowly build on. Those clubs that we talk about, they're institutional clubs. They're huge. They've been consistent winners. Clubs like us that, more recently, perhaps not so much. We've got to get to a point where there is a clear identity within the club that allows us to get to the point where it becomes a habit of winning. And a habit of winning, as I said, brings more money, which helps that side of the fan base, brings better football, which brings that side of the fan base. But it all starts somewhere, and that is an alignment at the top. And unfortunately,
can I ask you a question, Gary? Can I ask you a question? Right, we had a debate on this show last month where some felt that we need a philosophy, and without a philosophy, that's what we've got to do first. And I argued, I disagreed. My point of view is we need to know what we want. For example, we want to win the league, and then we build all the pieces that can get us that. And that shapes your philosophy. Where are you at with it? Because when you say identity, do you mean the style of play, or do you mean the final goal that we should be achieving? Can you explain your version of what identity means?
So the identity of the club, of who we are and what we want to be. So it's similar to a philosophy, I guess. Who are we? Do we want to win now at all costs? Then we go and get experienced players, people that have been there at the highest of levels and won things. Do we want to build through our academy, find younger players? And if that is the essence of it, we need to find a manager that's good in those situations to then build. But we need to make sure that fans and everyone around understands, like Mauricio Pochettino, I think we all understood what he was trying to do, bring through younger players and build with them to then bring through another set of players. So for me, it was a philosophy identity. I just don't see that at the club at the moment. I feel that we flip-flop between different things, and it feels like we're trying to throw as much shit at the wall, hope something sticks, and then we're going to run with it for a few years. That's not sustainable, and it's only going to end in one issue, and it's kind of where we are at the moment. So I guess it's kind of a philosophy. I kind of call it our identity. We need to understand who we are as a football club, because you brought up Brighton earlier. We know what Brighton are. Brighton are a fantastically well-run team. It doesn't matter what manager you put in there, as long as they're the similar style and they have the similar identity in what they want to play, they're going to succeed. And you look at, they got a 1-year-old manager right now. That's unbelievable what he's doing.
So Gary, this is the question I ask to people when they say this, right? It's not me trying to criticize. It's just, trying to have a discussion about this to know what we're doing as a club, right? When people say they want a philosophy, my question is, for what purpose? What do you want the philosophy for? Because my answer to that question would be, we want a philosophy so that we can win the league or to win the FA Cup. So therefore, you got to start at what you want is winning the trophy, right? Then you build the philosophy for it. Otherwise, what do you want a philosophy for? What is the purpose of it?
Still, that starts with ambition. It's like, if you plot out a career, for argument's sake.
Yeah, but Lubo, ambition for what? Ambition for what?
Obviously, to be the best you can be.
Which is what?
Well, listen, you got trophies. You want to win the league, don't you? You want to be the best team in the.
And that's my point. That's my point. That's your starting. So that must be your starting point, no?
Sure, but if whatever you're plotting, if you're saying, right, I'm going on a journey here, you've got to know what you want at the end of the journey to be able to plan for it. So you say, fine. That's ambition. You said, right, the ambition is to win trophies. Then how are we going to get there? What philosophy are we going to put into play to realise that ambition? And so it starts with ambition and goes on to philosophy, but you've got to have the right people in place and you've got to have knowledgeable people in place who do this. Now, the problem is with us, we don't have knowledgeable people on the board. What I'm putting to you still is this. For me personally, get rid of, bring in new owners who are ambitious. Nobody knows how well new owners will be, but after 25, 26 years, for me, enough's enough. I think we've seen enough. We know what if they don't sell. If they don't sell, then for me, they have got to be that they would have actually looked at.
What makes you think they're going to sell?
No. If they don't sell, listen, it's if you look at all the figures from
they have made absolute. Like, we are assuming, Lubo. So just quickly, sorry, I'm not going to take over, but like, the fans want them to sell, but they have made it abundantly clear that they have absolutely no intention of selling. So unless something meaningfully changes, I think everyone is like on a hope and a prayer that protests will make them sell, or relegation will make them sell, or nothing's going to change until they sell. Like, remove if they're going to, if you're just logically listening to what they've said, and the fact that 3 people came up with expressions of interest, and they universally said not interested, to the point where they could have taken some money, because they've shelved every project. They've shelved the hotel for now. They've shelved the redevelopment phase of the first 2 of 4 residential blocks. They've shelved the swimming pool and the climbing wall, the sports centre. So, like, they're not willing to sell, but they're also not willing to take investment. They've just shelved all of the things that were capital intensive. So I don't know where. Like, I think we as a fan base probably have to get our head around the idea that there is absolutely nothing to suggest that these people are willing to sell right now.
Okay, so if you're the owners, and obviously Colin Cott and his accounts team have been looking at all the figures based on Premier League next season and relegation and Championship next season. So they have had a major shock. So if you're looking at a situation where because the core part of the business, which is the football part of the business, has not been potentialised, let's put it that way, for literally since Enoch took over, and you're at the point now where the team before Zerbi came in were in free fall, were in serious danger of going down. We may still go down, but I think we're probably in a better position now than we were before Zerbi came in.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're the owners, you're looking at it thinking, how do we avoid being in this mess again? We've actually got to take this seriously. We've got to throw some money at it. And you've also got a situation where they've thrown everything in behind Zerbi, 12 million a year for 5 years.
And promised him the world in terms of access to authority.
But Lubo, listen to what you just said.
That's a commitment to a manager. So for me, Zerbi is going to be running the show when it comes to players. He will know how many he wants gone. He'll know who he wants.
He's not running the show.
Come on, running the show.
What's Lange doing then? What's Lange going to do then?
I think he'll be gone.
Why do we want another football director?
Hopefully nothing at all.
It's all very well what they're saying now. I think Lange will be gone. How can they look at a situation where if they go down, the value of their asset has dropped by probably $1.5 billion? Are you going to keep somebody?
Lubo, if we go down, they'll get
It has not dropped $1.5 billion. That's crazy.
You don't think so?
No.
If we stay up, I bet you Lange stays in this position if we stay up.
I don't think he will. I genuinely don't think. I think he will. The other thing is, for me, he has.
I think that's a 50-50 still. Like, I think that the owners are a little bit more sensitive to the fan sentiment on that particular narrative. I'd be very surprised if we do stay up. Certainly, if we go down, I think he's gone. But if we do stay up, I would still be surprised if they kept him on, because I feel like there's very few things in this life that unify Tottenham fans. But I don't know any Tottenham fan, no matter how positive they are, that has anything positive to say about him. I think the owners will be aware of that. And as far as Lubo, myself, Johnny, people that I know from the Spurs WhatsApp group that know people in the chairman's box and all that stuff, there's a lot of suggested evidence, albeit anecdotal, that those people are essentially cut adrift from the decision-making processes right now. So I'd be very surprised, maybe just for for the appearance of calm at sea, they're letting them stay. but I'd be very surprised if Johan Lang is here. But with regards to the ownership specifically, I think we talk so much about these like hypotheticals of how do we get them out. You know how I feel about this, Stel. Like I just, the owners don't sell unless they want to. They ain't going to receive a price that they're not happy with. I don't believe, Lubo, that it's going to be a £1.5 billion valuation drop just for spending a season in the Championship. That's ridiculous. But either way, there is absolutely no evidence anywhere to suggest that these guys have any intentions of going anywhere. And so I feel like we as a fan base probably need to either, like, I don't know, get comfortable with doing what you can, but expect no change, or get your head around the idea that these owners are here to stay.
They're not. Sean, I agree with you though. Sean, I agree with you. I don't agree with Lubo about this. They're not going anywhere. Why would you go when your customer accepts whatever you do? This year, of all years, if ever there was a year for the customer to say enough is enough, it was this year. And we didn't. As the customers of the business that they own, we said, we'll stick with this. And therefore, they've got no reason to sell. They've got no reason to sell this club.
So when you look at the figures for all the Premier League clubs, do we agree that there isn't the big money to be made in football at the moment?
There is big money to be made.
Do you think so? Do you think the clubs
football's about to go to pay
the clubs across the Premier League are making big money still? I must tell you something. If I had invested 350 million in a business and I could get 3 billion for that business, I'd bite someone's hand off for that. I'd bite, because you don't know what's around the corner. And I'm sure that the club's been up for sale on the quiet for years. They've had various people in to discuss.
They walked away from the opportunity to sell. They didn't even engage with them at all, Lubo. They sacked off the Rothschilds, whoever it was that they were working with. Like they're not interested in any of this stuff. I don't know where people come to me. It's like, get comfortable, guys. These guys aren't going anywhere.
I agree with you, Sean. I agree. They're not going anywhere.
I think if an offer close to where they want to be came in, I think they would sell.
Or if an offer comes in, but no one's going to pay the offer that what they want. It's like me saying I want £1 million for Spurs Talk Show. Well, yeah, if that comes in, I want it. I'll take it, but no one's paying it, so it's an irrelevant conversation. Like I think we as fans are like caught up in this delusional world of like, because we want something, it's plausible. I don't think it's plausible. I just want to get, because Gary hasn't spoken for a while. Gary, what's your take on? I don't even know what your stance is on the owners, mate. How do you sit on this whole thing?
No, I'm very. I mean, obviously, I'm with all of you in terms of your opinion that they need to leave, and I think we're at the point where they've taken us as far as they're willing to take us, rather than taking us as far as they can. I think they're just not prepared to go any further in terms of the footballing side of things. I'd be the first to say thanks for all that you've done. You've turned us into, you've given us the stadium, the training facilities. We've had some, albeit small success, but we've progressed. The commercial side of things is obviously fantastic. If they could have replicated commercially what they do, but on the pitch, I don't think any of us are sitting here talking about them at all. In my opinion, there's 4 of us here that are huge Tottenham fans. If they are as big a Tottenham fans as they have been reported to be, and we've consistently been told on videos, I don't think that they're sitting there and not doing everything they can to make this into an absolute juggernaut of a football club, which they've got the opportunity to do so. I think they're here for money. I would like to think that if someone did come in and said, look, we'll give you, I don't know, 4 billion or whatever it is, that they take it. Again, Stelios, you said something really good earlier, whereas judge them on what they are doing, not what's being said. And there is nothing at the minute that I can see that's showing that they're going to leave the football club. And it's frustrating, it's worrying. It's because we are regressing at a rapid rate. And I come back to, we don't have any identity under them. And that's a real concern. Another thing as well, like I said earlier, growing up, this wasn't something I ever spoke about. I never spoke about the ownership of a club or money or things like that. Yeah. For me, It was the players that we were betting in.
It's
and
become an
ever-present
more factor, though, isn't it, Gary? I mean, like,
all it is now.
Everyone's an accountant now.
Everywhere.
Everyone's got an FFP
That's Sean's
perspective.
fault. It's all your fault.
Yes.
You.
Gary,
In some sense, it's like people like me talking about it online or coming on here and we're talking about it on these, and it breeds more and more like this is what we should do, and it breeds bigger and bigger. Ultimately, for me, right this second, the ownership are in a little box. They're at the back of my head because there's one thing that matters to me right now is I stand in the Premier League. Once that's secured, then I think there needs to be a huge uproar about them the moment we are secure, and everybody should be then making this is unacceptable, and you need to and we've got to try and do something. But until then, for me, I've just popped them in a little box at the back of my head because we just need to stay in this Premier League at the moment.
That's not going to happen, though, Gary. Unfortunately, that won't happen because what will happen is, and quote me on this: if we stay up, it'll be. I'm excited for next season. We can get top 4. Let's get behind Zerbi. All aboard the Zerbi train. My manager. That's going to be the narrative. And any attempts of protest or boycott, like you said, we really got to make some noise about. It won't. It just nothing will come of it. Unfortunately, I agree with everything you said. By the way, it just won't happen.
I get that, and I can understand that, and I can understand that I've come on here, and I was like, I'm really positive, I'm feeling good about things, and that does happen, and I completely understand that. The issue, I think, it's settling in for a larger part of the fan bases. They've come out repeatedly and said we're going to break wage structure, we want to win more wins more often, and all these things, and they're coming out and saying this, and we've got to judge them on that quote unquote first summer without Daniel Levy and see if the proof is in the pudding. And I get some people are in that category. I've never seen anything to suggest that they're willing to do that. They've been here for 25 years. It's not like they've just rocked up. But we have to do something. And I think at the moment our energy should be in one area, and that is sucking that ball into the back of the net on Monday and to secure us the Premier League. I think that is all of our energies and efforts and tweeting and being on shows. But they are conversations we should be having. But I think that at the moment, they aren't conversations that we should all be worrying too much on. So I think there are bigger things that we need to worry about. And going into the Championship, I think is a huge problem.
I agree, Gary. Listen, if there's 20,000 people in that South Stand, thank God Stell is in Cyprus, because if he was one of them, the rest of us are all sucking, going, trying to suck that ball in, and Stell's going.
Well, I'll be in Cyprus in 3 weeks' time, so I'll bring one of the balls with me.
Whereabouts are you coming to?
I got married in Paphos, so we're heading back.
Oh, mate, that's where I live. We should link up when you're here.
Yeah, we'll do. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I'll be there the 28th or 27th. I think I leave. I'll be there for about 10 days.
Yeah, nice.
Are you married to Are you married to a Cypriot girl, Gary?
No, English. We decided we want to get married on the beach, so we went to like a special wedding hotel, and there was like 30 something of us. We just took over most of the hotel and got married on the beach. It was brilliant. Yeah. And then we had a honeymoon in Barcelona, because I love Barcelona as a football club as well. So I went there.
Congratulations, mate. Congratulations. Right, guys, listen, we're going to do a couple of super chats, and then I just want to do a quick, I asked Lilywhite's permission. I haven't asked Stell. I hope you don't mind, Stell. This will benefit Spurs 5. It will benefit
Spurs
Gary
Hub. Yeah, that's fine.
If that's okay. Let me just do a couple of super chats first, and then we're going to move into more prominent stuff. We're going to talk about in the second half of the show, we're going to talk about the press conference, some of the things that Zerbi said. Oh, man, he's my manager. This guy is my manager. And then, of course, we're going to end up with the pre-match show, the pre-match preview. Chudini. I know it's not too many super chats tonight. What's going on, guys? Is it a cost of living crisis, or are we just not entertaining you? But it's all good. It's all good. We're not out here begging. But please, we've got bills to pay. I'm only kidding. Let's say Chudini. Thank you so much. Big up to you, my man. Where is my choo to you noise? Where is it? Here we go. Choo to you. Choo to you, mate. Big up to you, Dino. The super sticker train has well and truly commenced, and Ulrika, Ratatata, Ulrika Kaka is stepping in from Australia. Big up to you, Ulrika. I hope you are all well over there. What time is it? It must be late, or is it early? I don't even know. It must be like 11 o'clock at night or something. Big up to you in the morning even. Big up to you, Ulrika. Thank you very much for your support. And Coy's Hull Spurs is in with a super sticker as well. Choo choo to you, Hull. Thank you very much, buddy. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Guys, this is the opportunity for me to introduce everyone that's watching this that maybe doesn't watch the Spurs Talk Show. Just before the show, I did do an introduction to this concept. So give you a bit of background. I personally feel like I've been doing the Spurs content stuff for 5 years. 5 years ago, it was a lot easier than it is today for small channels to grow. It was a lot less crowded. And over time, I feel the frustration of Tottenham fans that are podcasters, that are bloggers, that are Twitter people, that are YouTubers. The frustration is you start a channel and no one finds it. You're at the whim of the algorithm, right? You're waiting for the algorithm to put your videos out in front of new people. That shouldn't be the limitation on your success. I've seen so many channels that have started that have had really talented people and they've given up because it's just not worth their time, because there's just no growth. It was a lot easier 10 years ago than it was 5 years ago, a lot easier 5 years ago than it is today. I don't think that should be the way it is. I think everybody should live in a world where meritocracy rules the roost. If you're good enough, you should be able to grow, and you shouldn't have to wait for algorithms to find you. So what we're doing in the Spurs Hub, it's just one section of it, but it's essentially a unified Spurs Hub, a unified hub for every single Tottenham fan to never need to go anywhere else. You don't need to go to Spotify and look around for podcasts if that's your thing. You don't need to go to YouTube and type in Tottenham channels and then go through and flick through and wait for them to see them, or if you like them or don't. You don't need to have to go to News Now to find your transfer news speculation if you're a blogger. Everything should be under one roof. And that's what we've done with the Spurs Hub. So I'm just going to quickly show you through it. This is the Spurs Hub, right? So every single YouTube channel that I have found thus far is about 50. I know there's about 100 and maybe more. I will be adding as many as I can find. They are all in one place. If you go to the videos tab on the Spurs Hub, it's spurshub.co.uk. You can see the Spurs 5 is live right now. See, live right now. You can go here and you can see a little bit of a delay. Spurs 5 is live right now. You see it on the screen? Right, that's me talking to myself. It's in video inception. You will be able to see it's also, hang on a second. It's also live on Project Spurs, which is Gary's channel. He is also streaming this to his channel right now. Also live on right there. Project Spurs. Okay. Very, very cool. If we go back, you can see all of the shorts. Whoever's uploaded any shorts, Chris Cowlin, there you go. Chris Cowlin has uploaded about 400 shorts in the last hour, all from his press conference. All of the shorts are there, chronologically ordered. All of the videos that have been published by every single channel that is Tottenham channel, from Spurs Official to mine to Stell's to Spurs 5 to Football Inc. to Holly Hotspur to Irish Hotspur to Pure Coys. Every single thing is there. There is absolutely no preference, no prejudice. It doesn't matter how big you are, how small you are. The most recent person who uploaded gets put into this chronologically. And so everybody can go to one place to find every single Spurs content creator. And so if you go here, then you should be able to find everybody, no matter how big or small they are. And I think that should be the way forward. Everybody shouldn't be limited by their reach. They should be limited by their effort and by their style and by their standard, their character, their skill set. But you shouldn't be cock blocked by an algorithm that doesn't decide, or that does decide, that because you're bigger you get more reach and because you're smaller you don't. I don't think that's fair. If that's what your thing, you can find all of the videos, all of them chronologically listed right there. So you can find all new content creators that you may love or you may dislike. Make sure you subscribe to them all. If you go to the news tab, once it loads, you're going to see all of the News Now, every single source. The BBC Sports, Sky Sports, The Guardian, Football London. You can see them all. Top tier at the first. You click on these links, it will take you off to the place where you can read your transfer news, views, and clues. It also has in the last hour, so time-based, chronologically, today, previous, earlier, all of the links. So you don't have to go anywhere anymore to find any content that could be related to Tottenham, whether it's transfers, injuries, whether it's news feeds, whether it's anything at all. This particular website will also have its own blog. This is the first introduction post. It also has access to Reddit. So if you're interested in Reddit, I know a lot of Tottenham fans aren't interested in Reddit or didn't even know that Reddit was a thriving, vibrant community. Well, all of the latest posts, again, chronologically, under the R Coys and the R Tottenham Hotspur. They are all there. You can click on them. You can go into access and get involved. It has its own forum. So you guys, if you want to build this community out, you can get in. If you want to build your own personality, your own brand, you can do that by signing up and having a membership and then and getting involved, right? Opening these things up and talking to people. People are already doing it. I can see it. Dennis 1989 has already started his own thread 7 minutes ago. Rory Hollies, whoever that is, I think that's Holly Hotspur or something to do with it. That person has started their own thread. Just joined. Gary Bull, Fly in Ryan. These things are happening in real time. Talking about real time. If you come down here to the bottom right-hand side, you will literally see a WhatsApp group style chat where everyone can chat. Literally everybody can chat at the same time. It's like it's a WhatsApp group for everybody, but no one needs to know anyone's telephone numbers. So you can get in there. And there's public chats, there's public forums. There will eventually be private forums where you can just bring in your own people that you like. There is a predictor game where you can spend every week engaging with the Premier League fixtures, sort of like its own little thing. I'll talk about that on a different day, but it's really cool. Go in there and read the rules around that. Maybe you're going to start next season. You've got all of your match day fixtures, all of your league table. You have previous fixtures. You can look at the stats on the game from Tottenham against Aston Villa, for example, or Wolves versus Tottenham, and all the Premier League fixtures. Your injury news is updated on the side. You can do your lineup builder. You can play around with your own lineups. You can play around with your own tactics. If you want to draw a triangle, this might be for you, Stel. You want to sit there and say how good it will be to see you, Doggy, Van der Ven, and Basuma make triangles. You can do all that stuff on the tactics builder if that's your thing. Not only does it do videos and blog chronologically, it also serves all of your podcasts as well. So if you're not familiar with podcasts or only podcasts that you like, but you want to find other ones, they will all be in here. Every single channel, every YouTube channel, every podcaster, they all have their own profile, their own page with all of their own content synced into it. And what's really important for you guys, if you are members, if you are signed up, not paid members, it's all free, you can connect with other people. So this has a private DM space, like there's messages. You can see I've had a couple of messages from people that are messaging me, notifications on things that are coming my way. It's just launched today, but you can set up your own profile. And if you are someone that is a content creator, like Gary, for example, and you're looking, Gary, for people that want to be guests who you want to bring onto your show, you can make your profile and say, guys, I'm Gary. I've got Project Spurs. I'm open-minded to people. I'd like to have knowledgeable people or journalists or people that are experts in the youth football. Whatever your tipple, you can augment your own profile and you can switch on or off your ability to be private messaged. You can switch on or off your willingness to engage with other people. Also, brands that are out there can reach out through the website and get contacting to you specifically. So there's no middleman involved in the conversation between you and them. And like I say, if you are someone that's just watching this and you want to build your own profile, you want to enter the content space, then you can also set up your own profile. You can reach out to content creators and say, hey, I'd like to be on. Any chance you can invite me? Or you can just put yourself up there as someone that is willing to be invited by anybody. So it's a perfect way for small and large content creators to meet up with less known or well-known individuals from any walk of the footballing community. It's a one-stop shop that caters for everything. I'm sorry, this is a long introduction, but I was just hoping that I could introduce it to you because it's a place for, as I say, a rising tide lifts all ships. I don't think there should be any reason why a small channel shouldn't have access to the same audiences that larger channels do just because the algorithm determines that you're not good enough or you're not relevant or you're not worthy yet. So if every Tottenham fan would like to be a part of this, then all you have to do is go to spurshub.co.uk, sign up, and then you have access to everything for free. There will be paid versions and new features. There is also a Twitter for Spurs on this thing. The problem with Twitter is since Elon Musk took over, they basically locked it all down. So you can't API, you can't really engage with Twitter off of their website. So we're going to create our own Twitter. It's going to allow video uploads and all sorts of things. All of that stuff is coming very, very soon. This is the very beta. It's the soft launch today. We've already got 600 members that have signed up in the last 2 hours. It's really cool. It's growing fast. So please support your favorite content creators. Please find other content creators, and this is the best place to do it. And I really hope that you guys will be a part of the journey because it only grows if you guys who are watching this engage with it, and it will help everybody as I say, get to know each other, and good things can come from it. I appreciate you guys letting me just go through that. SpursHub.co.uk. It is available on mobile. It's mobile responsive. There will be an app coming later. That's like a phase 3, but for now it's probably a better experience on desktop. But all of the functionality on desktop does exist on mobile. Appreciate that. Appreciate you guys for letting me.
Superb. Looks really good. Looks very well done. You know, credit to yourself and whoever else has put that together, because that's a lot of work to do on there. And yes, for me, I mean, my project Spurs is more of the lads having a chat after the game. It's more, you know, I cover the Tottenham news and reviews and opinion pieces, and I write articles and things. That's mainly on Twitter. But for me, that's perfect, because then it gets my personal stuff out to more Tottenham related fans rather than just some random bots and things like that on Twitter. So for me, that's fantastic, and I'm sure other content creators will really enjoy that, because as you said, it is very difficult space to get into. I mean, we've been doing
crowded. It's crowded. It's very crowded.
I mean, I've done it for about 5 months in terms of we do a podcast, and sometimes we'll bring, you know, a special guest on or whatever. I'm not like die hard with it. And it's difficult to grow subscribers, and something like this is great for people. So yeah, all credit to you. It looks outstanding.
Yeah, appreciate that. And by the way, it was me with a friend of mine called Claude, who is an unbelievably clever person. He's a digital guy, as in he's AI, right? So it was, this AI world allows people with ideas to put them into practice very quickly. And also, Stel gave me a couple of ideas last night, so credit to Stel as well for. I forgot to actually mention there's a sentimentometer. Right, it's the last thing, very very quickly. There's a sentimentometer. Stel came up with this idea, and I put it in immediately. So you can, over here on the right hand side, I'll be updating it with like hundreds of real time questions, like how do you feel about Johan Lang? How do you feel about the ownership? How do you feel about the manager? Whatever, players, captain, whatever the questions are, and then you can essentially dial up your out of 10 ratio. Cast your vote on whatever it might be, and over time this thing will collaborate and sort of collate all of that data, and we'll be able to look back over time and see when the swings and the flip-floppery happens, and be able to attribute them to moments in time that might have happened around winning and losing. So it'd be good to gather data about that stuff. But anyway, just wanted to quickly drop that in to the show, because I think it'll be really cool for people who are fans and also smaller creators to be able to find new audiences. If there's any channels that are not listed that want to be listed, then reach out to me, inquiries@spurshub.co.uk, and I'll add you guys immediately. Should we talk about the press conference, Lubo?
Yeah, why not? Why not? They're good. He does some very good press conferences, doesn't he, Zerbi?
Oh, I love him, mate. I love him.
And he's touched on quite a few players today as well.
Yeah.
So
where should we start? Should we start with Conor Gallagher? He's the 11th and the 12th man. I mean, what a compliment.
Yeah, terrific. I think it's interesting, because for me, Gallagher is a Zerbi type player. No question about it. Full of energy, full of running, high press, closing down the opposition, and is instrumental in dispossessing the opposition high up. So he's gonna have a more and more important role to play, I think, over the next few games and next season. It's interesting that Zerbi has looked at the situation without Xavi Simons now, and without Maddison, without Kulusevski. So right, I haven't got those creative players. There's no knowing at the moment. And the way he was talking about Maddison today in the press conference, who knows whether Maddison's going to get back in for an actual game this season. It's what started off maybe the last 2 or 3 games seems to be fading a little bit. Maybe he'll pull something out the hats, and we'll see Maddison coming onto the pitch maybe at Stamford Bridge Tuesday week. But he's looked at it and said, right, I've got nobody.
He should be on the middle.
I've got no one in the middle who's creative. How am I going to work this out? And he sort of thought, right, we'll have a high press, we'll suffocate the other team, and we'll play some patterns and listen, he's short with strikers, so he's got Tell playing wide. If you look, Tell and Moani are playing very wide, the pair of them, plays them, virtually on the touchline. But the effort those two put in on Sunday was excellent. And I think the way he will play next season could well be completely different to what he does here, because he's going to have creativity back. But I think what he's done is he's pinpointed Gallagher as a key player. I think is superb. And listen, tactically, the guy's excellent, isn't he? So full marks to him. He's probably had a look at the videos. He knows Gallagher, and he knows where he's going to play him. And the team looked phenomenal. Looked absolutely phenomenal. And he led the press on Sunday. I mean, we completely suffocated Villa. They couldn't move. It was only when we sat back a little bit in the second half that Villa were able to knock the ball about. But Kinski didn't have a save to make the whole game, did he? The whole game, not one.
No, well, I mean, apart from the goal,
didn't make the save, but there was
that to me. I mean, I'll write that down. I want to come back to you about that one, because I do think that's a question he did mention. Well, fuck it, we'll do it now. Stel, the conversation about Kinski is pretty clear, right? I think most Tottenham fans were very concerned, and rightly so, after Atletico Madrid. The resurrection of his Tottenham career has been very sharp. The curve has been very steep, and he has not let us down. He looks more comfortable than Vicario 10x with regards his ability to distribute. And people are saying keep him. He's the guy for our spot next season, but he hasn't really been tested too much, with the exception maybe of the late Wolves free kick in the 4 games that he's played. Are we getting ahead of ourselves with his shot stopping, because we haven't really seen it to know whether he's trustworthy in that regard?
Spurs fans getting ahead of themselves? No, not at all.
Well, let me ask you specifically: are you confident enough with? Would you give Kinski the gloves for the rest of the season, and would you give him the first number 1 next season, based on what you've seen in the last 4 games?
I mentioned this last week, so I'll on Monday. I'll repeat what I said on Monday in case anyone watching tonight wasn't watching Monday.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we did.
If the Zerbi's going to be here, sorry.
No, sorry, I forgot. We did actually. I did ask you that question on Monday. Sorry. Yeah, go on. Say it again anyway.
That's right. Yeah. It's fine. It's easy question to answer, right? If we're going to have a 5-year project and De Zerbi's actually going to stay here, then you've got to build the team in phases, okay? Klopp, Fergie, even Arteta, they've all done it the same way. You build one team, it's not quite right, then you build the next phase. And then when you get close to the end, then you go and get those players that are going to get you over the line. It's been the same pattern every time with clubs that have done 5-year projects. So this is the beginning of the project, okay? We're going to make the assumption that De Zerbi's here for 5 years. He's going to get back. Lots of assumptions. In the first phase, give Kinski the chance, because he's young. He's shown he's capable. But like you said, we don't know for sure. And if at the end of next season, he's earned his stripes, you can have the conversation of, is this the guy that's going to be the goalie for Tottenham for the next 5 years now? Is this the guy? And if not, you say, right, you're good, but we can't go to that next step. Arsenal had Ramsdale. He wasn't a bad goalie. Let's not forget, Arsenal finished second in the league with Ramsdale. But to go to that next step, they said, we need Raya. He's just better. So we might be in a position where we say in a year's time, 2 years' time, Kinski, you're good, but you're not going to get us there. Or we say, do you know what? You're really good. Yeah, we can go there with you. But we won't know that unless we give him a season as the goalie. And it's the same for any player. Unless you give them that chance to show what they really can do, you never know. So for me, because we're at the early stage and we can take a little bit of risk, you can't take risk when you get to the end. At the end, that's when you've got to nail it. So at the beginning, I'd say just go with Kinski and focus on other areas of the team that need major surgery, and let Kinski be the goalie for 1 season, and then assess it at the end as we go into the next phase of the long-term project. So my answer is yes. I would have Kinski as my number 1 next season.
You've missed a really critical point there as well. I think you've talked about project and you didn't say Project Spurs at all during that speech, which is quite disappointing. It was set up for you so many times that you could have done it, but you didn't. I'm very disappointed. But no, I agree with you. I think the early signs are there. The early signs are there with Kinski, and I think there's other areas that are more in need of operation. Right now, do we need somebody behind him that's very experienced? Absolutely, and I think that's one thing that we've lacked is a real experienced number two, certainly since Kinski's come in, and having someone alongside him. But yeah, for me, I kind of echo that. We've seen some good elements from him. I think one of the biggest parts is his distribution and the way he's playing with his feet. And when I'm at the stadium and watching the games, you can see that the back four are a lot more comfortable with him. You can see, and that makes me feel more comfortable. And I think that sort of goes around the stadium, which makes everybody else feel a bit better. So early signs are good. But yeah, you've got to play and you've got to see how he performs. The mental strength to get through the nightmare in Madrid to get to where he is now.
Right.
Absolutely.
So Gary, Lubo, can I just if you're going to go on, sorry, just on the point that Gary made about a reserve keeper, do you then look for somebody of the same level, same gravitas as when we got Fraser Forster?
I think potentially, yes,
you
maybe someone slightly younger. I think you need somebody that's probably similar style that can play with, but there's been the same, at least had more experience, but similar style in play that can play better with his feet, because Forster couldn't do that. Joe Hart was okay, but yeah, I think that we need some Premier League experience in there, certainly, and I think it will help him to also develop as well.
Lubo, I think we need someone of that warm. That, by the way, we know it's 3-0. You don't need to put it 20 times in the chat. Thank you very much, whoever that is, Mr. Dugawa. I think we need someone like a Vaughan, because I thought Vaughan was a really good backup. That kind of caliber. I think a Fraser Forster just a bit too old. You know, he's not really at the races. Slow to react to things. And Gary, you're spot on, mate. When you say his ability to psychologically come over what happened in Madrid, I think that's his biggest quality. And this is something I've said a lot of times, with especially with our academy players. Like Mikey Moore gets a game, you think, oh, he's a good player. Then he gets to start a game and it's not as good, and everyone's like, oh, you see, he's not ready. No, let him prove that he can overcome the hurdles that are thrown in front of him. He's had a bad game. Now let's see what he's about. This is when you find out if a player can cut it at this level. It's not it's not when they have a good game. It's when they have a bad game, what they do next. And the one thing we do at Tottenham is when a young player has a bad game, they're dropped. That's the worst thing you can do to develop a player. That's when you've got to coach. And what we do is we drop them. So I'm glad in some ways that the Zerbi came in and do you know what? Vicario's injury might be a blessing in disguise.
I was just about to say the biggest blessing there for him is the injury. Yeah. I wrote an article about Kinski a couple of weeks ago. It was like the headline was from Madrid nightmare to Molineux hero, and in a way, the injury to Vicario has been a blessing for his career, because most people and a lot of people, former players and goalkeepers, said that his career might be over from that. And look at the mental strength. And for me, the biggest characteristic from that as well was at Wolves, the save right at the end, which is unbelievable, because that's us done. If we draw that's us done. But it's the aftermath from there. The players are surrounding him and he's pushing them away, telling them, be focused for this corner. That's a 23-year-old kid that's just come through all that in Madrid to have the foresight to still go, no, we've got a few minutes here, let's hang on. And I think that shows a great character of him. But yeah, for me, he has to stay for the rest of the season. I don't think Vicario is going to play again for us,
No.
Which I think in a way is a blessing in disguise. I think that's a blessing for us as fans that are in the stadium. And I definitely think that's a blessing for that back four, because the back four look much more comfortable with Kinski in goal.
It's interesting that Vicario seems to have paid for a good part of this season with this injury. And Kinski could have come in earlier, number one. Number two, if you bring in another keeper now and Kinski goes back to number two, he'll just turn around and say, "Yeah, I'll forget this. I'll get my agent to push for a move." So he'll be gone. So for me, I think the way he came back, and I was in that camp. I was behind the goal against Madrid watching that, and it was like, oh, it's typical. This is our club, isn't it? This is our club. We get to a last 16. And we're giving them 3 goals through slipping. I mean, it's just like typical. It's so Spursy, but he's bounced back. He's bounced back incredibly. And for me, if he keeps going, because listen, he's only faced 8 shots on target in 4 games. So the defence has done really well. Midfield players have come back. They've been throwing their bodies in front of shots. They've been blocking it. I want to see him when the pressure's on a lot more than, in terms of action pressure, not mental pressure, and see how he does. But I think he's done superbly. And you've got Gunter coming through. Brandon Austin is absolutely fine for me as a second choice at the moment, even maybe for next year. And because you could have a situation where Kinski comes through, and he's absolutely superb.
Luba, are you suggesting that you'd be okay with a scenario of next season, Premier League survival dictating, but you have Kinski as our number 1, Brandon Austin as our number 2, and Gunter as our 3rd?
Yes, I would.
That's incredibly risky.
I agree with Luba on this. I agree with you on this.
Austin played the grand total of 3 games, I think, or 2 games in his Tottenham career.
He was England under 21.
And did well, Sean. And did well. Did very well.
2 games is a small sample size. Okay. And Kinski, when he has played, when he's been tested as a shot stopper, hasn't delivered. And in the last 4 games, despite us all getting ahead of ourselves saying, what a comeback, Phoenix from the ashes. And I'm with you. I'm not trying to poo-poo it. Like, unbelievable from what happened in Madrid to now. But he hasn't been tested in the last 4 games, apart from 1 save against Wolves. So, are we just sort of suggesting that he's not going to have another wobble? Because he has had 2 wobbles. It wasn't just Madrid. In the Arsenal game last season, he wobbled. He made a mistake and he crumbled. I just think that that's a. If he has a wobble, where do you go? To Brandon Austin with only 2?
I think it's a valid point, but I think it's a valid point that Brandon Austin or Luka Gunter. I think Luka Gunter probably would be better going out on loan. I think him having some, but he's a very good goalkeeper, by the way, and I think him maybe going out. But I definitely think experience behind us. For me, I've called for someone like Jordan. Yeah, I think Jordan Pickford, for instance, that type of full experience that's sort of not quite at the tail end of his career, but can be a guiding light for him as well, but understands the situation of where he's coming into, that type of thing. I know Carl Darlow's been the one that's been linked quite a lot. It's not a bad goalkeeper, but someone with real experience that can help us in testing times.
We literally did a 25-minute chat at the beginning of the show about the youth and the academy and youngsters getting a chance. If ever you're going to give Austins, the Kinskis, a real chance, it's at the beginning of the project. This is when because this is the time you can get away with some poor decisions.
One of them, not 3 of them.
Yeah, but again, Sean, you would only bring in an experienced goalie as backup if your expectations are really high for next season. If we go on the assumption that we're going to finish mid-table, hopefully we get into Europe next season. If that's our expectation for next season, let Kinski and Brandon Austin and Gunter do it. Let them have it.
What happens if Kinski collapses and Brandon Austin doesn't turn out to be that good, and none of us know whether he is or he isn't at this level?
Okay, then we have the January transfer window. Then we have the January transfer window.
I think you need a lot more experience than it's a crucial area of the pitch, mate. A striker can be a kid and he can miss 20 chances, and if he scores 1, it's the best moment of his life. If a goalkeeper makes a mistake, you are 1-0 down in a game. I don't think you can take that risk with goalkeepers.
I think
It's
one.
not a risk.
I think
It's
one
not a
of them
risk.
is.
It's a project. It's the,
It's a huge risk. What do you mean it's not a risk?
It's not because
It's the biggest risk.
Mate, Alex
What?
Ferguson. Hold on. No. It's not. Alex Ferguson at the start of his project finished 11th. Klopp finished 7th. Arteta finished 8th 2 years in a row.
Sure.
If we're going to have a proper project,
Did any of them do that with 318, like with an 18-year-old and 21-year-old, or you know what I mean? Like, what are we doing here?
One second. No, Sean, the point I'm trying to make isn't the age of the goalies they had. The point I'm trying to make is if we're going to have a proper clear out once and for all and build a squad, a 20-man squad that can all rotate without this big drop off in any position, that's going to take a long time. But in the beginning phase, now's the time to experiment. If you're going to experiment, do it now. That's what I'm saying. It kind of makes sense.
I've got no problem keeping Kinski, but behind Kinski, I need a Joe Hart type.
Why? This is the experiment phase.
Just in case Kinski bottles it.
Yeah, but Sean, what is your fear? Your fear is that if Brandon Austin comes in, we get relegated. Is that your fear?
Yeah.
If we get relegated, it's not going to be because of the goalies. Because
listen, you know what? Now you pointed it out. The person who's presenting this argument is not scared of relegation. He's endorsing it. So, Lubo, are you going to get into this?
I'm speaking as a coach. I'm speaking as someone that's built teams that have won big stuff in youth football. I'm someone that's built a team. Yeah,
so you've got a predisposition.
And academy teams. So I'm saying, if you're going to build a project,
you've got a predisposition towards accelerating youth. I'm just saying.
No. It's not about accelerating the youth. It's about this is the experiment phase. You can't get away with experimenting in 3-4 years' time. You can't. Now's the time to do it.
You want all three of our goalkeepers to be inexperienced risks.
They're not inexperienced. Brandon Austin's got experience. So
where has he got experience? Sorry, Brandon. 1 second, Gary. Just ask the question. Where's Brandon Austin? What experience has Brandon Austin had? He sits at Tottenham for the last 5 years and goes home at 1 o'clock and plays FIFA every day. His mate was doing the DJing. What actual experience in first team football does Brandon Austin have still? Don't look it up.
No, I'm not. I'm typing in the comments. I'm typing in the comments.
Oh, fair enough.
Freaking type in how many games has Brandon Austin played. No, the point I'm trying to make is Brandon Austin has played games for Tottenham to have some level of experience. We don't need to go and spend money on a goalkeeper when we've got 3 at the club.
Oh, I don't know.
Sean,
you don't need. It's not.
Your goalkeeper is like the lock on the front door. It's like it keeps out the intruders.
Sean, think about this. We need 2 strikers. We need 2 strikers. We need back up to the right wing. We need back up to the playmaker. We need a ball playing midfielder. We probably need another left winger. We need a left back. We might want a right back. If Romero goes around the centre back,
if you were making the argument, I'm going to bring Gary in. But if you were making the argument that you know what, we can't do everything in all positions, so let's put one of the kids. Let's give Olasasi some more minutes. Let's give Williams Barnett some more minutes. But I'd be more on board with that because the risk of those guys not doing it doesn't mean that you guarantee to concede goals. Gary, do you understand the point I'm making? That I'm okay with Kinski being like an experiment. But I need something there to reassure me that if the experiment fails. You understand my point?
I understand everybody's viewpoints on it. Where I sit with it is that the goalkeeper is a very serious position, obviously. Right. For me, I think I need an experienced number 2, and I'm happy with maybe a Gunter or an Austin. Probably Austin. I think Luke Gunter could go out and get some valuable first team minutes and then come in to replace maybe the number 2 or come in as the 3, and Austin, if he plays in some of the cup games, performs well, comes through. But it comes down to a lot of what we spoke at the beginning, is that identity. What are we and who do we want to be? And we are at the beginning of that project, as we've said. Biggest issue and the elephant in the room is how long is Roberto De Zerbi going to be here for? because we could sit and say that, okay, let's go and get a Joe Hart, for instance, or I said Jordan Pickford earlier as an example of the experience. Not saying we're going to get Jordan Pickford, but that experience coming towards the end of his latter end of his career. How long do we really know that Roberto De Zerbi is going to be here? Because of the history of ENIC, probably not long. So it's is he going to go and put some time and effort into developing a Luca Gunter with the idea of, probably not going to be here in 6 to 12 months or 18 months time? And it's a really difficult situation because we just don't know. If it was us and we as squad building, I think for me, Brandon Austin and let Gunter go out on loan and give Kinski the number 1 jersey, should everything go okay for the remaining 4 games, because we've got some glaring problems elsewhere on the pitch.
But Gary, if we're building a squad on the basis that we don't know if De Zerbi is going to be here, we might as well not bother.
Yeah,
because we're going to be
problem.
This scenario all over again.
So we don't disagree on the idea of experimenting and building projects, but you're advocating for like experimenting in the first team, in the first choice, the second choice, and the third choice. I have no idea.
The third one. Oh, Sean, you can have the third one. All right, let's...
Brandon Austin doesn't even play first team football anywhere. Has he ever been on loan? Like, I think he went on loan to Scandinavia about 6 years ago.
He's not a kid. He's not a kid. Brandon Austin's like 26, 27 years old.
But that doesn't mean that he's ready. It doesn't mean that he's ready. He hasn't played any first team football. That's a concern for me. Like, why haven't you pushed for
when he's come in under Ange? When he came in under Ange, he was perfectly fine.
One game here, one game there. Like, but
yeah, but that's what backup does.
You're betting the house.
Don't forget, we're not in Europe. We're not in Europe next year either, Sean. We're not in Europe next year either. We're not going to have as many games.
My concern about Kinski isn't getting injured. My concern about Kinski is, does the wobble return?
I'll answer you on that one, Sean. How is he going to get into? How is he going to have a situation that's going to be any worse than what Madrid was? Is the whole world's watching?
But he might not even be that good. We don't know how good he is.
Well, listen,
I don't know how good he is.
Okay,
how do we find out unless we give him that chance? Then
I'm fine for giving Kinski the chance, but in case the answer is he ain't that good, I don't want Austin to be our only other option. I think that's reasonable. I don't know what's going on here. Like, we have no idea how good Austin is. He's 26, 27 years old, and he's never asked for a loan.
Right. I'll meet you halfway. I'll meet you halfway. Let's bring in another goalie as the backup that's experienced, but not to the detriment of fixing more important positions in this team that we are crying out for. Because that's what we did in the summer. In fact, that's what we did in January. Instead of going and getting someone that can score goals, we got Conor Gallagher. Yeah, he had a good game on the weekend, but if that happens again, then I'm going to be sitting here saying, why did we go and buy goalie?
I'm just saying that if Austin's any good, go and let him have a season somewhere where he actually plays first team football, and let's see just like what happened with the guy Josh Keeley. Josh Keeley went to Orient. Really turned out that he was actually very good. I'm disappointed that we sold him. But where did Josh Keeley go?
Keeley went to Luton. Spurs wanted to keep him.
Yeah,
he wanted first team football, and they had no choice.
But we do have the buyback option on him. We do have ways to recalibrate that later on. I just think that with Brandon Austin, to me, it's a concern that the geezer's got absolutely no interest in his own career. He's 27 years old and he sat as a third choice goalkeeper at Tottenham for God knows how many years. I don't disagree with you guys that when he's been asked, he hasn't done a bad job. But I still don't have any real sample size on whether he's reliable. And I think the argument is actually still quite salient with Kinski as well. As a shot stopper, he does look more confident coming for the ball in the air. He does look very much more confident as a distribution goalkeeper. But I still have question marks around whether or not he's 5 minutes away from a brain fart and then it all falls apart. Guys, we're at the 1 hour 45 minute mark and we haven't even spoken at all about the other section of the conference, the press conference, and we haven't got to the Leeds game. We've got 15 minutes. How much should we talk about the Leeds game? Because it's the biggest part.
Yeah, let's talk about the Leeds game. Yeah.
All right. So it's Monday night Football. Gary, I'll start with you. I think it goes without saying how big of an occasion it is. How would you go about tackling Leeds? Do you think that they're going to be as interested, as focused as they have been? Because their form is phenomenal, but they are safe now for all intents and purposes. So are you relying or hoping that they're on the beach? You know, where's your head at?
Well, I'd like to think so. If we can turn up like we did against Villa, I'm pretty confident. I think that we were excellent against Villa. I think that our press will suffocate them. They're a good team when you allow it. They perform very well, obviously, against Manchester United away from home. The slightly indifferent on away form. They're obviously not going to want to lose. They're not going to come there with, I think, feet firmly in, maybe on the beach already. For me, we've got to start quick, bright, and we have to press them as high as we can and go at them and be ruthless from the first minute. And I think if we do that, the history of the fixture in recent times is in our favour. Obviously, we played very well against them at home, but it feels like every time we speak, it's like Forest, the biggest game in the club's history, and it's like Brighton now is the biggest game in the club's history, and then Wolves is probably the biggest game. This for me is absolutely massive. We simply have to get a result. As I said right at the beginning of this program, it's in our hands, and if we can get this over the line, this is a huge 1 foot in the Premier League next season. But we have to replicate everything that we did against Villa, but this time at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Yeah, love that. Before I move on to the other guys, Gary, is there any particular tactical setup that you'd like to see? Any players that didn't play against Villa that you'd like to see brought back in, or are you kind of happy with the way that the Zerbi's going about it so far?
I like the way that he's gone about it, and what I've actually liked is, and it's very different to under Thomas Frank, because we could sit here and we struggled to predict what Thomas Frank's team would be. He's clearly found his formation, and he's clearly found the players that he likes and the players that are going to do the roles that he wants. And other than injury, he's sticking with them. And I like that. There's consistency. And as I said before, when you win, it becomes a habit. And if you keep winning and keep performing well, it becomes a habit and becomes easier and easier as you go along. And hopefully the last few performances under the majority of the players, because we've only ever had to make 1, maybe 2 changes, which is not a lot in comparison to what we've been doing under Frank and Tudor, which seems to be every week it was a different lineup, different formation. That hopefully this becomes a bit of a routine for them, and that we can essentially get the results. For me, Conor Gallagher in that 10 again, starting the press. Hopefully Richarlison, who seems to come of age at this difficult situations, obviously did it at Everton, and he's hopefully can do it again for us here. I thought Colin Mawani was one of his better games for us, and that's not been many of them. But someone like Destiny Udogie needs to come in. We need balance from the left and right hand side, but pressing as much as we can. If there is any ounce of potential of James Maddison coming in, I think that'd be a great lift. But I think it might be a little bit too soon for him. So I just want to see very, very much of what we saw against Aston Villa. And I think the reaction from the players in terms of being in the press and what they've talked about, the reactions after the game in the press conferences is showing that they are fully behind Zerbi. They're enjoying the football, enjoying the information and the tactical instructions that he's providing. And with another week on the training ground dealing with that, and now understanding the severity of where we are, and it is fully in our hands, I'm pretty confident, I must admit.
Yeah, love that, mate. Love that. I completely agree. Lubo, what say you, buddy? Leeds, biggest game since the last biggest game. Is this the biggest game ever, or was Villa the biggest game ever? How big is this one in comparison?
They're all massive, aren't they? They're all cup finals.
They are.
They're all cup finals. I mean, Leeds are one of the form teams in the division. Last 6 games, they've won 3 and drawn 3. And they haven't lost an away game since the last-minute goal at Newcastle on January the 7th. They've drawn at Everton, Villa, Palace and Bournemouth, and they've won at Old Trafford. So this is not going to be an easy game by any stretch of the imagination. I've heard a lot of fans say, well, Leeds are now safe. They're not. Mathematically, they're not 100% safe at the moment. If they lose all their games and Spurs and West Ham win their games, they could drop. So they still need a point or two just to ensure that they're up. Although one would probably think on 43 points they are. But for me, it's about what we do, not what they do. And I just think that having seen all the improvements step by step with Zerbi, I just think, number one, he's got to keep the same team. Must stick with the same 11. I don't see any benefit now with changing it. Don't see how he can improve it. The team were absolutely superb Sunday. He's got to keep it as it is. And I just think under lights, I think the fans, I think you'll see a different atmosphere at White Hart Lane to where we've been for the rest of the season. I know against Brighton, we'd lost the week previously to Sunderland. There was a lot of trepidation. Everybody went there expecting to lose. I think the mindset will be different on Monday. I think people will be going there expecting to see a good performance. And I think it with 7 points out of the last 9, you can't help, particularly after Sunday's performance, but go into it in a much better with a much better mindset, much better frame of mind, more confident. And I see us winning. I do see us winning.
Stel?
Looking forward to
Leeds are they're in cracking form, mate. Let's be honest. Like they basically. I think Lubo's right. It's mathematically possible that Leeds can still get caught up in it, but they are in 14th spot. They are undefeated in. I think the last game that they lost was against Chelsea in the FA Cup semi-final. I think they're undefeated in 5, 3 wins and 2 draws at least in the last 5. And Tottenham's home form. That to me is the big unknown, right? We still haven't won at home for a long time. Would you rather Tottenham be playing Leeds away at Ellen Road on Monday, or would you rather? How do you see it going? Is the home form thing a concern?
Well, we beat Leeds away this year, so
We did.
that kind of answers your question. We beat them 2-1. I've had a few days to think about this remaining relegation battle. For me, there's no doubt in my mind that Leeds and Forest are both safe. Maybe one of us catches Forest, but West Ham and Tottenham both won't. They both won't in the same 3-game period catch Forest. Forest are safe. Leeds are safe. It's between West Ham and Tottenham. So we're the favourites because we've got momentum behind us, and it's in our hands because we're ahead of West Ham. So we are the favourites to stay up now. I don't think it's a done deal, though. I thought it kind of was after Villa. I think there's another twist in this. There's always an unexpected. What the hell just happened there? I think there's one more. I don't know what it is. I just think there is. I'm not even going to try and predict what that is, but we're going to have to do something we haven't done in a long, long time, which is either win a home game or go to Stamford Bridge and beat them. Are both possible? Yes. Do I think both will happen? No. West Ham, everyone's expecting Arsenal to batter West Ham. I don't think that's a foregone conclusion because West Ham now are fighting for their lives. And if there's one thing I know about Arsenal, when they're under pressure, they shit the bed. Now they're under pressure because they've got a chance to go and win this league because City dropped points. I don't know what's going to happen now in that West Ham game. Whatever does happen in that game will kind of determine the pressure that we're under because they played before us. So I thought against Sunderland we should have got a draw. I thought against Wolves we were rubbish. I thought against Brighton a draw was fair, but you kind of think we should have got the points because it was so late in the game. Against Villa we fully deserved the points. There's no question of a doubt. So we've been up and down, but the belief that we can win games, you can see it amongst the players. They believe they can win. And it comes from Zerbi because he said we can win 5 games in a row. Thomas Frank said we'd win 10, draw 5, lose. You know, it's a different psychology. I personally think in this game, I think we'll do our score predictions in a minute. I don't think we win. I don't think we lose. I think this will be a draw. That probably will be enough because Arsenal are shit hot favourites to beat West Ham. But if West Ham get a draw, we stay as we are. Anyhow, they pull out a win out the bag, which is highly unlikely. Then it's advantage West Ham again, and then we've got to go to Stamford Bridge. So I don't know what's going to happen, Sean. I don't. It's impossible to know because everyone now is fighting for their dear lives. I think personally against Leeds, they're a good team. They're in good form. I think we probably draw this one. I think we get a draw.
Is there any changes to the squad? Any changes to the starting 11 that you would like to see? Same as like Polinia, Gallagher, Bentancur, those three will carry us through. Yeah?
I'm totally against. Don't fix what's not broken. If you've got a winning formula, just let it roll out again. I hate when we win games and suddenly players get dropped. We haven't got cup games. We haven't got Europe. There's nothing to juggle and rotate. Just play the exact same team that played against Villa. And if it's not working, then you make your changes. I'd start with the exact same team and see if you can build on that momentum.
Just before we come to the final part of the show, the predicciones, Gary Lubo, is there? I don't mind which one goes first. Is there any part of you that do you see more twists and turns? Essentially, I think Estelle just touched on it, and I completely agree. I think that there's it's very everyone's like, oh, we do this, they do that. This is what the kind of intended outcomes are. Do you think there's going to be more surprises to either West Ham's outcomes, whether West Ham surprise to the upside or surprise to the downside? Do you see West Ham getting a result against Arsenal? Do you see them getting a result against Newcastle? I forget who they've got on the final day. Tottenham is Leeds, yeah. Is it going to be sort of as you would expect, or do you think that there will be? Do you think there'll be more twists and turns like there was in the title race this week with City drawing to Everton?
Well, no one expected us to win on Sunday, did they? So
no,
there's a twist there. I don't think many of us expected West Ham to beat Everton either. So
no, definitely not.
And who expected Leeds and Forest to hit, to be the two of the 5 form sides in the Premier League at the moment? So it's been surprising. The whole thing. It's a bookie's party time, isn't it? Really, I mean, they must be taking an absolute fortune at the moment. So for me, yes, it's quite possible. Could we lose to Leeds and win at Chelsea? Possibly. That could, we're due a result at Chelsea anyway. I've been there so many times over the years, and we've come away deserving something and not having got any luck. I don't know. I just think Spurs have got some momentum. Leeds are pretty much done and dusted, although mathematically they probably need a point against us or West Ham just to make sure. To me, Leeds at 43 points are pretty much there. Will they be on the beach? Probably not. If they know they're up, will there be 5% less? I don't know. I just think that Spurs need the results more than Leeds need the result.
Can I ask you, if West Ham do the unthinkable and beat Arsenal, does that make it mathematically impossible for West Ham to catch Leeds?
Well, West Ham would then be on 39 and Leeds will be on 43, and they've both got 2 games to go. So if Leeds get a result at Newcastle, they would, and Leeds lost, then they would be a point behind.
Sorry,
Leeds.
Lubo, my question was wrong. If West Ham lose to Arsenal or draw, can they still catch Leeds or not?
No.
Right. In that case, if West Ham don't beat Arsenal, then Leeds are on the beach on Monday, aren't they?
Pretty much. I mean, Leeds goal difference -5. If West Ham draw, then their goal difference is -19. They're not going to pick up 14 goals in 2 games.
Yeah, Leeds are unless West Ham beat Arsenal, Leeds are safe.
Leeds are safe, yeah. Mathematically.
So therefore, that changes what I think now. What's going to happen? Because if they're on the beach, they're not going to. Are they going to try? Are they even going to bother?
And if they don't, are we going to get bombarded on Twitter with people saying it's a conspiracy? It's a conspiracy. I don't know.
Look,
Who cares?
Who cares?
Who cares?
Yeah.
I think there'll be a twist. I think West Ham will probably get a result. They might get a result at Newcastle. I think they definitely will lose against Arsenal. I think Arsenal just have to. They have to win. I think the pressure is on them. I think they'll get through that. But again, it's on us, Leeds. If we can beat Leeds or get a result there, I think we're going to be okay. But there's definitely something's going to happen, and I hope that it's for us and not against us. That's for sure.
I think the other thing also is that Newcastle are on 45 and Chelsea are on 48 in 9th place. So 9th place could well be a Conference League spot. Could well be. If Villa finish 5th and beats, is it Braga? Is it Braga or Freiburg? Whoever it is they've got in the final. Then
what happens if Arsenal win the Champions League, Palace win the Conference League, and Villa win the Europa? And it's a clean sweep of English clubs. What happens then? Do we get more places, or like you said, is it even more than that? Or
it could go down to 9th or 10th.
That's ridiculous. Imagine finishing mid-table and qualifying for Europe. That's
what is that
about? What is that about?
Sean, if you've got 6 teams in the Champions League, if Palace win the Conference League, then they go in with the next 2 league teams into the Europa, because City and Chelsea are in the mix anyway. Maybe Chelsea won't be. Maybe if Chelsea win the FA Cup, then they take that second Europa League. So you've got 6 plus 3, and the next spot is the Conference League. So you'll have 10. In which case, at the moment, 10th place is Everton on 48. So if Newcastle will go to a devastated Forest at the weekends on Sunday.
We'd just miss out on Europe if we win the last 3 games then.
So Leeds might be playing for a place in Europe.
No.
Why? If they beat us, they're 2 points off the European spot.
Leeds are on 43 points. If they beat us, they go to 46.
Which is 2 points off mid-table.
It's 2 points off of... Yeah, it is. But at the end of that game week, you would imagine that somewhere, that 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th or whatever will be... all of those teams will probably have some...
Yeah, but if Leeds...
It's technically possible that Leeds are not out of European... Yeah, it's technically possible. Yeah.
And Leeds have got Brighton at Ellen Road.
They're 5 points adrift with 9 points to play. You'd expect these teams here to pick up points as well, right? So,
yeah.
Well, Newcastle are in free fall. Sunderland are dodgy.
Well, Newcastle beat Brighton, right? Which was actually what I was saying earlier. Like, Newcastle beating Brighton at the start of the week gave me sort of caution to be optimistic, because Newcastle have to play both Forest and West Ham. And so if Newcastle can beat Forest next weekend, although, after tonight, they might be gutted, devastated. So maybe Newcastle.
Where is the Forest game? Is that away or at home?
No, at City Ground. And then they've got West Ham. They've got West Ham then at Newcastle the following weekend.
They're better at home, aren't they, Newcastle?
If Newcastle beat Forest this weekend, if they do, they go to 48 points. They are bang in the Conference League, or potentially they might potentially be still in that race. And so we are all Newcastle fans this weekend, because if they do, then they'll be right up for the West Ham game the following weekend, and that's at St James's.
I don't think both Tottenham and West Ham catch Forest. I can see one of us. I don't think both teams will do it.
No, Forest are safe, but I'm just saying from a Newcastle perspective, if Newcastle beat Forest this weekend, then Newcastle go to 48, and they've got to play West Ham at St James's next weekend. So then they'll be right up for that, and that's what we need. We need West Ham to lose to Newcastle. We need West Ham to lose to Arsenal. West Ham to lose to Newcastle, on the assumption that they'll beat Leeds on the final day. So I'm baking in on that world. I'm baking in that West Ham get to 39 points, which means in my world, if Tottenham win one more game, we're probably okay.
Imagine all these weeks we've been talking about how Stamford Bridge could be the game we go to, and Chelsea relegate us. It'll be the ultimate,
the opposite
hateful game of football. Imagine we go there, beat them, and stay up on that.
Imagine that. We have a party at partyathebridge.com. Be fantastic.
Mate, could you imagine? The away fans there? The
Ah,
absolute
we have a-
carnage.
Tottenham away, ole, ole. Speaking of which, guys, before we do the predicciones, I just want to say Stelios has changed his channel name. He is now Tottenham away, ole, ole. I'm going to grab the link for him in a second. Of course, you haven't got to do any of this stuff. You can go to the Spurs Hub if you want to find these people. They're all there.
I was originally Tottenham away when I started 5 years ago.
That's right. And Gary, before we come to the predicciones, this is Gary's channel, Project Spurs, with some vowels missing. Project Spurs, very clever. Please do get over. How many subscribers are you on, Gary?
I think I just hit 300 today. So
okay, we can get you to if I don't know 50 people. There's 950 people here. Surely 50 of you are watching on your desktop. Surely 50 of you have the chat function in front of you right now. You can just click that link. It will open up the YouTube page for Project Spurs. Just hit the subscribe. Share the love, guys. Share the love. That's what we're about. We're a community. And let me go and find Stel's channel as well. Tottenham away, ole. Exactly the same principle. You've got to subscribe to that as well. Stel, do you want to get the predicciones up, mate, and start asking people to make their predictions? Do you have Johnny's prediction, by the way?
I've messaged him. Let's see if he's replied. He normally replies later on. I think what he does is he goes and he looks at what we've all said. And then, I could be wrong though, so don't quote me.
No, Johnny will just tip Spurs to win. Don't worry.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he? Johnny hasn't replied yet.
So whilst we get you guys, get Gary up to 50 more than wherever he was on. There's 900 people here. Come on, guys. At least 5-10% of you can smash the sub for Gary. And there is also the link for where's it gone? Here's Stel. Here's Stel's new channel. It's not a new channel. It's the same one. It was what was it called before? Stel 10S or something.
No, it was Mr. Stelios and Spurs delegation squad. Then it was Stel with the 10. And I thought, right, just now it's just Tottenham away. And then
Tottenham
next
away,
month,
LA.
I'll let you know. I'll update you next month what it's called.
Love it. Come on, guys, get the subscribers out. Get the subscriber button. Hit the drum the thumb, people. Right, Lubo, time for predicciones, mate. Big one for you. In fact, sorry, Stel. First of all, what's the leaderboard looking like? Can you show us?
Yeah, I did show on Monday.
I like to see myself top. I like to see
Stel, don't indulge him, please.
No, hold on. Do you know what? There it is. It's in the overlay.
Shawnee on top, ole ole. There we go. 4 points difference. Lubo, for you promised me you were going to come through as a late bloomer. For you to overtake me, you need to get two correct score lines and a correct prediction, and that requires me to get no more points. You're in trouble, bro. You're in trouble.
The current situation, right? I don't know what I want more: to win it and come first, or not end up finishing below Johnny. Anyhow, I finish below Johnny, I'm going to be seething, absolutely seething. I don't know what
Johnny's making a late charge, mate. So it's not how you start; it's how you finish. You know?
Go
on then, Lubo. Over to you, mate. What are you saying?
Me?
Yeah, you first.
2-1.
I'll go first if you want. 2-1. Oh, 2-1 to Tottenham.
Yeah, I echo the same. 2-1 Tottenham.
Gary's gone 2-1 Tottenham. Lubo?
2-1.
Not Lubo, sorry, Sean.
See, I feel like now I can't say 2-1, but that was going to be my prediction. I'm going to say.
Why can't you say 2-1? Why can't you say 2-1?
Because if I do that, then I'm just protecting myself from being able to be caught, aren't I? So I'll say 2-0.
That doesn't make any sense. Is it the aim of the game to get as many points as you can?
No, I know, but like if I said 2-1, then essentially if I'm right, then and Lubo's right, then nothing changes. I'm not giving Lubo a chance, and I'm a charitable man.
You know, I'm a chap.
Lubo.
What he's doing,
Are you listening to this?
So what he's doing is he's trying to debunk any chance of conspiracy theories.
Yeah, that's
I am concerned. I am concerned about that.
This is a conspiracy-free channel.
What are you saying, Stel?
Do you know, I know Spurs are going to win now because I think Arsenal beat fucking West Ham and Leeds will be on the beach. But I just don't think we're going to win a home game until Everton. 2-2. I'm going to go 2-2.
There we go. He's got
end-to-end. It's going to be an end-to-end game. It's going to be
it's
going to be a great watch, but a draw, I think.
All right, there you go. So all of us think we're going to score 2 goals, which means we're all happy because a few weeks ago everyone was saying, how are we going to score? Who's going to get the goals?
Do you know what, Lubo? A few weeks ago, the narrative was if Tottenham don't score first or if Tottenham concede first, we don't win a game of football. And that, by the way, that still exists. But more recently, it's become true that if we score first, we do okay.
Yeah.
We do okay. Yeah.
I guys, honestly, do you know what? I don't think we win this, man. I just don't. I think it's just something about at home. It's just not meant to be at the moment, man. At home.
Still, it's been over 5 months. It was 5 months yesterday since we won a league game.
But look at the facts. We're not due a home win. We are 20th. We're not. We're absolutely not.
You're like the raging gambler at the casino that said, look at the casino board. There's 10 blacks on the bounce. It's guaranteed a red. Guaranteed a red.
Yeah. More money.
More money on red. It doesn't work that way.
Just 3 minutes away. 3 minutes away on the last one.
Yeah.
See if we can hold on for those extra 3.
That's right. They'll source it on Monday still.
Libo, these are the facts, right? We are 20th in the league for home wins. We are rock bottom, yet we are 3rd for away results.
Right, but still, there's one thing you haven't taken into.
So I think we might beat Chelsea. You know,
hang on.
Beat Chelsea.
Hang on. We are unbeaten at home under Zerbi. This is the.
We haven't won though. That's why I predicted a draw.
Unbeaten at home.
This is the Zerbi.
That's why I predicted a draw. We haven't won at home.
We're going to be all right. Still, relax, chill. We're going to win. We're going to win.
I am relaxed. I predicted a draw. I'm justified.
I know you are.
You're the one going all in.
When we win, you're not relaxed. I understand that still because you want to go.
You're the one going all in on Red 24, not me. You put all your chips in again.
Don't worry. We're going to win.
All right. Keep borrowing money.
We're going to win. I need to put a couple of points back.
Get into more debt. Don't
worry. We'll be fine.
The casino manager is going to call you on a Monday night. Like, Lubo, we've got to have a chat.
We'll give you a free hotel room if you stay and continue to gamble.
Yeah.
Last super chat of the evening. Matt C from Canada. Big up to you. He says, Johnny is like you, doggy. Here for 3 streams, off for 3. We're going to call him Destiny You Johnny from now on.
You Johnny. Destiny You Johnny.
Destiny You Johnny. I love that. Absolutely fantastic.
You Johnny. Oh my God.
In for a little while, out for a long time. Big up to you, Matt. Thank you very much for your funny
stuff. On his birthday, can we get him a Spurs kit with on the back, You Johnny? Brilliant.
Sensational. Okay, guys, we're going to round it off. Appreciate everyone for coming in. Appreciate your attention this evening. Gary, thank you very much for being a part of the show, mate. Absolutely fantastic debut. Guys, please do. We'll put the Project Spurs link in the description after the show. So if you're watching this on playback, please do support Johnny. Support Gary on his journey to the next milestone. I guess it's 1,000 subscribers. Big up to you, Lubo. Thanks for coming. Big up to you, Stel. Guys, once again, last reminder, please do, if you are interested in helping all creators grow together, then find spurshub.co.uk, play around with it, and we will grow that over time as well. Thanks, everybody. We'll be back on Lubo. Do we have a plan? Monday night is obviously off after the game because we're at the game. So
we've got to try and sort something out for Monday's show because we'll all be following Spurs at 8 o'clock, won't we, Monday night? So
yeah.
Watch this space. We'll try
either Tuesday or Wednesday. We'll squeeze in something this week if we can.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks, everybody. Thanks again. Like, subscribe, and comment to all of the guys, and we will see you on the next one. And as always, take care. Bye-bye. Come on, you Spurs. Bye, Jeff.
Bye, Jeff.